I remember she was extremely inviting, warm, very kind, she gave me a hug as soon as I met her.
All I'd like to say to Ms. Brown is thank you for putting me in this program and just helping me throughout all I've been through, keeping me ready to learn.
She's just a very amazing woman.
I'm Janice Edwards. Coming up on Bay Area Vista, we're on location at the Orly Brown Foundation Gala. 28 years ago, she promised a classroom of first graders that if they stayed in school, she would put them through college. She's kept her promise and fulfilled the dream for so many more. We're talking with her, as well as actor and writer Christian Keys. That's next on Bay Area Vista. Join us.
Bay Area Vista, Vista. Bay Area, Bay Area Vista, Vista. Bay Area,
Welcome to Bay Area Vista. I'm Janice Edwards, and thank you so much for joining us. We're on location at the Orly Brown Foundation Gala. You can hear the auction going on in the background. So much has happened already this evening. It's been a wonderful celebration of 28 years of fulfillment of a promise. Orly Brown told first graders that if they stayed in school, that she would put them through college. She's done that, and she's continued to provide college scholarships for many more students. We're talking with the students, we're talking with Orly Brown, and award winners tonight. Rotha So is an alumna of the Orly Brown Foundation program, and you had a full ride. Where did you go to school?
I went to UC Davis.
Tell me about that experience, and once you were there, how it impacted your impression of the importance of what Ms. Brown had done by investing in your future.
I was terrified when I first went to UC Davis. Definitely for one, it was a big culture shock, especially growing up in Oakland, like transitioning to a very wide university campus like UC Davis. It was very intimidating. But I think Ms. Brown really helped with like reminding me of my strengths and just providing that reassurance and support that she consistently gave us.
For people who never met her, what would you like for them to know about Mama Brown?
She is a mama, like my mom. I consider her like she has that warm feeling when you like are near her, and so.
And what kind of advice does she give you?
She tells me to stay focused, and also don't forget where I came from.
You are someone who needs no introduction, but we're talking with Jerry Lange, who was one of the first broadcasters as well as known for her journalism. It's so nice to see you here. Tell me why you wanted to come out tonight.
Well, Orly Brown, what can I say? A woman that had no money sat there years ago and told these kids, if you believe in me, I'm going to get the money when I work. I'm going to take a certain amount of money out of my check. And if you get good grades, I'm going to send you to college and pay for it. I mean, is that faith? Because, you know, she had to go out and raise the money. But she did exactly what she said she was going to do. And that's uncanny, I think. And I think it's also a wonder. I think if you make a statement, and this has been the story of my life, somebody said, well, why do you look kind of young for 91? I said, listen, if you try to live your life without hurting anyone, and you don't have to sit down and be guilty about anything, that's all you have to do. You won't age, because you get aged thinking of all the mean things you said. Oh God, I hope I can catch him before he dies, and I want to apologize, and then you can't apologize. You know, you don't want to live that kind of life. The kind of life you should live is one where you don't have to make any apologies to God.
I know last time I spoke with you, I was so sorry about Michael's passing. Of course, Michael, your son, was an amazing playwright and did so many things for Michael Lange. And then also your son, Ted, is most famous for The Love Boat. So he's famous for making people feel good. Ted Lange, who was Isaac the bartender on The Love Boat. How is Ted doing?
Ted has now been summoned to Scotland to write plays for the Scottish people, and then in Mexico on the second. So he's gone there. So I thought, he said, well, Mom, they wanted me to direct.
So we are excited to begin with an introduction of the students, and Laquita White and Latasha Hunter will introduce the students. Let's welcome them warmly.
They asked me to come here and speak to you guys on education, and I'm going to be as transparent as possible. That way you guys will understand why they asked me to be here. My name is Christian Keys. I'll keep it real short about my career. I'm blessed to be an actor and an author. I'm a 2-time published author. I'm writing my 3rd book now, and I'm outlining my 4th. But I started in foster care. I was in 12 foster homes, 3 group homes, 3 detention centers. I've been homeless, like sleeping behind Kmart homeless, eating out of the dumpster homeless, eating out of the cafeteria at lunchtime in middle school homeless. I couldn't go home because my first adoptive parent, Mrs. Keys, was abusive. She opened up the side of my head with a hammer. We got beat, and I'm not saying this for pity. I just want to be transparent so that way you'll respect my message and you'll understand the reason that I get to travel the country and tell people my stories, because I got a heck of a story, as a lot of us do. Read those books. Set aside some time. Set aside half an hour every day. You'll be surprised. You'll clear out a book a month easily. I'll say those 2, and then I'll just say this. My secret weapon this whole entire time has always been wanting to be the opposite of what I came up in.
Christian Keys has just delivered an inspirational speech talking about his past as well as his present and excitement about his future. Christian, how were you inspired by the students that you saw here tonight?
Well, how can you not be? I mean, I was them, so it's needing a hand, underprivileged, and still rich in energy, rich in enthusiasm, rich in brilliance and substance, just lacking a helping hand. And then you got the Brown Foundation that is that helping hand. So it was beautiful. I'm inspired. I feel like I was helped by the foundation in a way.
A lot of people gasped as you talked about Mrs. Keys and what you experienced, and now you're able to talk about it and move through it because of forgiveness and all of those things. But what helped you get on that path to leaving it behind you?
Honestly, just realizing that I wasn't getting where I wanted to be by being bitter and angry. Like I said up there, you can't reach your heights if you're weighed down by resentment. You can't fly if your hatred is holding you back.
Congratulations, Assemblymember Bonta, on receiving the political award tonight. Your thoughts on what it means for you to receive this award?
It's a real honor for me, of course, to receive this award tonight, given all that Ms. Brown and the Orally Brown Foundation has meant to our community and what she's done courageously, standing up and saying, I'm going to send kids to college. And, she shows what one person can do with commitment in your heart and an undeniable passion. And she's transformed lives through education. That's a value that I hold as well, the importance of education to provide opportunity and unlock new doors of opportunity for young people. And I'm here to support her and thank her, and just pleased and honored to be a part of this tonight.
Once again, Ms. Brown, thank you for this award. And like I said, I want to say you are doing a fantastic job. It's people like you that make my job easier. By educating these young people out here, they don't have to run across me and my colleagues, right? So I really want to say I appreciate everything that you're doing, and please keep it up. All right, thank you.
I applaud all of the awardees tonight, but most of all, I applaud this foundation, Ora Lee Brown. She put her money where her talk was. So few people do that. And I will conclude by saying that Malcolm X was correct when he said that education is our passport to the future. For tomorrow belongs to those who prepare for it today. The Orally Brown Foundation has issued and continues to issue passports to the future. I congratulate you and thank you very much.
And Orally herself, who started in Brookfield. Some of you may or may not know, I built the first recreation center at Brookfield. It was my first full-time assignment in the city of Oakland as the first African-American recreation director, full-time, assigned east of Broadway. we built that center from scratch, and that school became renowned as one of the foremost schools in Oakland. Orly came along, and she challenged young people there, many of whom have already gone and finished college, and she keeps that rolling. Doug would want me to say to you, I am sure that because he's a humble person, he works hard and he makes a difference, but he has supported NAACP from the ground up. He supports the pastors of Oakland. He supports the very roots of what we do in this community. By profession, he is an insurance agent, been that for 17 years. But of course, his real contribution comes from having worked with many of the funeral establishments of our community. I wanted just to say he made it possible for many, many people to be buried without cost in this city.
Was a essay contest on why would we think college is important or going to college is important. None of us knew what college was. We were 11 years old, and she gave the contest to the whole school, and only 5 of us wrote the essay, and we reached out to our professors. Deshar always been a brainiac, so he wrote his on his own, but we reached out to our teachers, and everybody helped, and 5 students out of the whole school actually wrote the essay, and she gave it to all 5 of us. And we had it since, so we met on weekends and been into the program since we were 11 years old. Now we're both 25.
Congratulations, first of all. That is amazing. So what is it about Mama Brown that has continued to inspire you?
Mama Brown, being a mom, she's like a mom. A lot of us growing up in the neighborhoods that we grew up in, a lot of us don't have that parent structure at home, and she provides that structure that we need to succeed. So we all have like different cheerleaders in our life, and she's been kind of like, you know, the general cheerleader. Even if we're steering to the wrong side of the track, she puts us back in line, and she just continues to do that.
Next month, I'll be taking off to Michigan to pursue a Master's of Education and an MBA. And Mama Brown told me to say, I graduated from UC Berkeley with a BA in anthropology. She is an articulate and passionate speaker and consultant on topics including school turnaround, dropout prevention, engaging the adolescent learner, database instructional decision-making, rigorous lesson design, parent involvement, and increasing post-secondary access. Please give a round of applause for Dr. Melanie Spears.
About 20-something years ago, when she had that idea to help those first grade students, I was a student teacher at Brookfield. And so I was getting to know the profession that I love, and I've always admired her. And someone else that I admire introduced me to her, and I committed myself to volunteering and helping her with the work going forward. And so I've dedicated my life to education, and one thing that my dad said to me was to make sure that I treat the students as if they were my own. And that's very important when you're trying to turn around a school system or be a teacher. And so being a teacher has been one of the greatest careers that I have, but since this award, I've become a superintendent. And so I'm dedicated to helping communities and turning around school districts beyond the classroom now. So thank you very much.
The Very Reverend James V. Matthews presently is serving as rector of the Cathedral of Christ the Light, Oakland, and the administrator of Our Lady of Lourdes, Oakland Board of Regents of Bishop O'Dowd High School in Oakland, Dean of Deanery, one member of the Diocesan Personal Board, Vice Chair of the Presbyterian Council, and chaplain to the Oakland Fire Department. Can we give him a hand clap?
When she called this year to say that I was getting the religious award, I said, Orly, now is the time for me to sign that check. And it's taken me all this time to do that, but we've signed that check, and that check will be continuing over the years to come. So it's not just one check, it's going to continue over the years. I want to thank you very, very much from the bottom of my heart, and to have God continue to bless you in all of your efforts, and for those who surround you each and every day to do what you do for the young people of our community. God bless you again.
So let me just thank Janice Edwards, first of all, for hosting this year's event, but most importantly, for being here throughout the years. I would also like to thank Mr. Keys, our keynote speaker, for giving us such an inspiring message. It is always a pleasure for me to stand before you, our guest students, and certainly our sponsors, to personally thank and welcome you for supporting the Early Brown Foundation and its promise for the past 28 years. Yes, longevity has its place in history, so I thank you for it. Since inception of the program, we have branched out, and the foundation has taken on a mind of its own. We have 3 events now that we are working with. First of all, I want to thank the Oakland Berkeley Association of Realtors for their continuous support. Board, please stand up. Thank you. We also have an annual Black and White Tea that is held each year in January, and that is put on by the community and by individuals. But we have 2 of those individuals or groups here tonight. One is Chapel of the Chime. Please stand, that table over there. They have been so supportive of us in that effort. Thank you. And then we also have Lydia and Donnie Ajar. Please stand. They are there. I don't even have to call. And when I do, she generally will say, Mom, what you want? And then if I don't call, she say, you know you can have it. So thank you, guys. Last but certainly not the end of the foundation, it's the long-awaited project that we have worked on for years. It is my desire and hopes that in 2017-2018 school year, we will open the boarding school. It is a dedication that I have given my life, and it's one prayer that I generally pray to God, and that's number 1, let me live to see this boarding school open, and number 2, God, let me continue to wear high heel shoes. I don't want to get in flats. But there are individuals that I would really like to thank. They have been there with me from the beginning, and that's Mr. and Mrs. David and Georgia Osborne. Please stand. They are there every step of the way. Thank you. Thank you, guys. And then also we have a lead person that has been working with me, and someone whom I begin to just admire and try to live my life and pattern after her. And that is none other than Dr. Spears, and maybe I should say Superintendent Spears.
How did you meet Orly?
I actually saw that Tom Brokaw did a piece on her, and I just happened to see it one night on television, and it was a very moving piece. That was the beginning.
Tonight we have a story of generosity and commitment that knows no season. NBC's Roger O'Neill takes us to Oakland, California. A woman with a modest income, a big heart, and even bigger ideas.
She made a promise only a dreamer would make. When her own brother told her, you can't save the world, Orly Brown said, why not?
I'm a girl that pick cotton for a living. I'm a long ways from rich. But see, when you come from nothing, a little bit can go a long ways.
And last night, 19 young people thanked her for a gift that is changing their lives. Ms. Brown, you see, is paying for all of their college educations.
She has a big heart, and she's done a spectacular job with these children. There's no way I couldn't have helped her out.
And her dedication is beyond my imagination, because I can see starting something like this and getting excited, but to carry it on for 28 years, I mean, it's amazing.
And we have concluded the 28th Annual Orly Brown Foundation Awards Banquet. Congratulations.
Thank you.
How are you feeling about this evening?
great. It's over. I can exhale.
And you know, we've heard this story many times, but back in 1987, you met some first graders. What made you decide that this was going to be your mission to make sure they got through college?
But see, I didn't. It wasn't my mission. Growing up as a kid, I was a babysitter. And I babysat 8 kids at one time. So I often say that this is not my mission, this is God's mission. And sometime when you are thrown a curve, you hit the ball. And so I've just tried to do his will.
Yes, indeed, it is a divine mission. So let's talk a little bit about faith and the role that faith plays in your life and in the work that you do.
Well, you know, I come from the South. And it's one thing I can always remember my mother would say is that God would make a way. And as a kid, I didn't understand it. And I would go to my siblings and say, you know what, I don't know what Mama talking about, because God is not making a way down here. We down here in Mississippi. You know, we lived on a farm. So I began to pick cotton at the age of 8. And the only desire I had was to get out of Mississippi. And we would be in the cotton field, and they had dust planes, and they would come and dust the crops to keep the boll weevils out of them. And I would always look up and say, God, get me out of here. Just get me away from here. And at some point, I started making a promise. God, if you get me out of here, I'll do whatever you tell me to do, you know. And sometimes it's be careful what you say.
Right.
You know, you may be challenged with that. So I'm often reminded of that. And I think maybe that's one of the reasons that he gave me this mission, because I told him I would do it.
How did you wind up in California coming from Mississippi?
Oh, now that is a story. My brother had passed away, and I had some money. And my mother did not have any money, and so she asked me to give my $200 to my brother and let him use that money to bury my other brother. And when he came back to California, he would send for me. And he did. And the day that I got here one Tuesday evening, it was raining. And we ate, and the next morning when we got up, he said, now you're here, what you gonna do? And I said, I wanna go to cosmetology school. So he told his wife, he said, take us a place down on Broadway. And I went down there with Charm Beauty College. And that was 6 months I had my license. So my first job was at Lean's Beauty Lounge on Havens Court in 66.
Wow, and how did you go from there into real estate and everything else?
You know, everything has always been a process for me. You know, I would always go to church on Sunday, and I would always cook dinner on Saturday night. And so when we would have dinner around 2 or 2:30, I would always just go look at houses. I couldn't afford them, but I wanted to look. And I was at this open house one day, and this guy said, who do you work for? And I said, I'm not in real estate. He said, every open house. I see. I said, I'd love to look at houses. And he reached in his lapel pocket. He said, there's a school down on, it was on Grand Avenue. He said, go down there. They have open seating on Monday. You just go in and observe. And I put it in my pocket. And when I wore that suit again, which was probably a couple of months later, I pulled the card out. And I said, well, I'm going down there. And so when I got off of work, I went down there, and when the class was over, I had signed up. When I made the pledge to the students, I was only making $45,000, and I gave them $10,000, and then I was still paying about $4,500 in my tithes. But I would tell myself, you still got $28,000, $29,000 left. In Mississippi, I worked for $2 a day, so I never beat up on me. I never said I didn't have, because anything was better than Mississippi.
Let's talk about the vision for the boarding school that you want to have.
It is needed. I've seen regular schools, I've seen charter schools, but when you look at the state of education, it's not getting any better. And you cannot continue to do the same thing and expect a different results. I feel the boarding school will accomplish 2 or 3 things. One of the ones that is greatly needed is truancy. So if the kids are in the boarding school, they're on campus. If you're not in class, Mama Brown will be up in the dorm. I won't worry about my kids being hungry. The cafeteria will be open from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. We are already working with UC Berkeley and Cal State East Bay. So Monday through Thursday, we will have tutors at the site from 3:30 to 7. When kids go to the room, they will have the homework done. I see it here now when teachers send homework home to kids and the parents, not talking about them, but when you look at some of the math that kids are doing, and even 5th and 6th grade, parents are not qualified to do it. And a child will only be embarrassed so many times. They're gonna drop out. They can't do the work, kids laugh at them, peers are terrible, and they end up leaving school. When they leave school, they're headed to crime. And so the boarding school will afford those kids a real chance. I was talking to Marie Schreiber, and she was saying that they started in boarding school when she was 8. And so why we don't have this for our kids? Education, and you've been a Harvard graduate, education is the only thing that will free you, because I've seen millionaires go under. Money won't free you, but an education will.
You have such a vision and you continue to expand. Is there anything else on your list beside the boarding school that you look forward to doing?
No, you know, it's really not. You know, I figure if I can take it there, then I'll pass the torch. Somebody else can have it. But I can't stop until I get that. Because it was given to me in a dream. And the same way adopting a kid. So I know it's meant to be. So I must do it. Am I tired? Absolutely. We've been working on this for over 7 years. But I can't stop. I'm not a quitter. And so I must finish it. And we plan to open up the 2017-2018 school year. I'm determined.
Well, we look forward to that. And congratulations again, and blessings to you as you continue.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
To find out more about the Orally Brown Foundation, details are on our screen. And that's our show. I'm Janice Edwards. Thanks for all that you do to make our Bay Area, our Sacramento area, and our world a better place to be. Please join us again next time. We look forward to seeing you then.
Miss Orally Brown, my real life angel. She was sent from the heavens above. This how I take time to show you some love. Miss Orally Brown, my real life angel. She was sent from the heavens above. This how I take time to show you some love, Miss Brown. Didn't know words don't explain what this lady has done. I was placed under her wing and she made me a son. I mean, what more could somebody ask for? You search for the window of opportunity. She bring a door and you can't ignore the fact that she's black. Plus she's a little woman from Mississippi.